Hello, it is Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 1:55 Eastern Time, USA PM, 13:55 Eastern Time. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. On this segment, I want to talk about microgrids. I talked about the fund I want to start to put solar panels in people's yards in western Pennsylvania and hypothetically all over the United States and the world. Nonprofit fund for people to go solar, and the reason, and I said I wanted to get away from microgrids, but then I thought about it, and microgrids play a key role in what we can do by working with the electric companies instead of trying to stick it to the electric companies. So to the electric companies out there, look, the green sustainable energy revolution is well on its way. It's coming, and the electric companies need to learn to adapt to it in a way that makes sense. I mean, we have solar and battery backups so people can take themselves off the grid. That's very expensive right now. But in Australia, they just discovered an enzyme that can generate electricity from thin air using nitrogen in the air. Hydrogen in the air. They use a bacteria commonly found in the soil, can live in very high temperatures, very low temperatures, and it generates electricity out of thin air. So it's only a matter of time before we create generators that can use these bacteria and these enzymes to generate electricity sustainably, household by household. Now they'll fight this, the corporations will fight this. We have companies like Monsanto that can patent in the United States, they can patent DNA, they can patent they can patent organisms, which is insane to me. That's why I criticize them in Denmark. That's why I continue to criticize them in a screenplay that I sent to Hollywood. But they'll do it. They'll patent that bacteria that the Australians discovered, and they'll, for the sake of the electricity companies, they'll patent those organisms so that we can't make common sense generators to generate electricity with no noise like a gas generator. So I caution the scientists in Australia, contact me if you need help figuring out the best way to proceed with bringing this form of electricity to the masses as ethically and common sense logically as we can to a world market. But it's here, right? The electricity companies can only fight that for so long. And that's one of the main things I don't understand about people who are against solar. If we said we were going to bring soundless gas generators to every household, they would be on board for that for some reason. And I'm not against that. We can have microgrids and grid structure where natural gas generators are incorporated for emergencies and hypothetically for everyday power generation at homes. These gas lines are already buried. I've argued that electrical lines should be buried so that we don't have the windstorms, the storms knocking out electricity. It's a more reliable form of electricity, and we could build housings around these generators so that they don't make as much noise, so that you could run them for several hours a day to charge up batteries or a car, an electric car, electric vehicles, so on and so forth. So I'm open to all aspects of a microgrid. What I'm saying is, at Ken's farm, at French Creek Farms, we put in the model houses, and we build the microgrid out of a trailer or a shed with batteries in it and hardware, software. So I invite any computer science person that wants to help with this, contact me. We'll work together to build this so that we can patent it and distribute it for free to other communities, cul-de-sacs, streets that want to do it. But here's what I'm thinking on the rural level, because I've proposed incorporating solar panels into people's yards. We can take them if they renege on if they don't pay their payments for 2 months. We can just take the panels, move it on to the next person. I even thought maybe the buy-in for the fund, once you pay in what the installation cost is, then you can receive your solar panel installation. That way the installation's covered. It's simply about the cost of the solar panels. That way we can pay someone to remove those and move them on to the next person. That way people aren't taking advantage of us paying for their installation, reneging on the payments, and we're losing money because we paid $2,000. The installation was $5,000. They only paid in $3,000, and then they stopped making payments. We took the panels, but they got the whole infrastructure installed for a $2,000 discount, and then they could go and finance their own panels to reconnect into that. So that's one thing I thought of. But so we're focused on rural, getting panels out in people's yards. And what I'm thinking here is, look, the electricity companies have to adapt. I've proposed cities maintaining their own electrical infrastructure. Now, that's maybe feasible in the city, but out in the country, it's not. So why not allow these electricity companies to maintain the infrastructure? Then they can charge their distribution fees. And most people that put solar panels on their house, they want a battery backup for when the power goes out, but they don't want to worry in the winter if they're generating enough electricity to heat their house, to keep their house warm and things like that. So they want that power grid infrastructure at their house. Most people don't want to go completely off grid unless they're, like preppers or something like that. So we encourage this type of incorporation of solar into the existing power grid. But here's the thing, I argued, the argument for microgrids is we can cut off certain sections of the grid and say, look, if you don't pay us for the generation from our solar panels what we deserve to be paid, we're going to go totally off grid. And it's an interesting concept. I'm suggesting we work with the electric companies, but let's still develop that technology so that we can say to the electric companies, look, we want paid for our generation, but we're willing to take it in trade in a different avenue. So my idea is, and there have been court cases against this, but making internet providers public utilities, right? And the reason I'm coming to this is I've talked with Ken Bryan. He said there's issues with the new 911 system in Venango County. They want to put in more towers to make a more accurate 911 system using cellular waves, wireless waves that I think are toxic to some people. But that's how they're ushering in all these cell phone towers and stuff like that, because Comcast, other will piggyback in on that infrastructure and pay into it to help pay for it. That's where we're looking at for Venango County, right? So it's actually the police, fire, and the need for rapid response to emergencies that has brought in this wireless infrastructure, and they piggyback it in. I argue that a 911 system with actual wired LAN phones in every house makes more sense, because if you break down at the side of the road, that house has a phone in it that I can pick up, and it automatically tells the 911 system exactly where I am, right? So if you can knock on the door, hey, can I use your phone? It's an emergency. Someone's having a heart attack in my car and it broke down, blah, blah, blah. You can run into the house, use the phone, or they can call on the phone. And it links up automatically. We know that that phone line is at this address, instead of trying to track people and figure out where their wireless phone is. I think it's a better system, but here's the argument. So I think we should make internet providers a public utility, and we should start to adapt it for what this is a solution to the wireless towers. Let's have a wired internet infrastructure all over the United States, not just in cities where I propose we can try to do legal action to get those and seize those. Let's work with the electric companies. Let's make them a public utility like the electric company and make them go hand in hand with the electric company so that possibly, I think they should be transparent. All public utilities should be voted by the voting public, by the citizens, on how they're run, and should be totally transparent and operationally direct democracy. So we adapt to this. We have internet public utilities that are tied to the electric companies and possibly even provided by the electric companies. So we merge internet providers with electric companies regionally. Then they can manage the infrastructure because they share the telephone poles, they share the lines, they have the trained people to go up in the boom trucks and maintenance the electric lines, maintenance the cable lines. So let's leave that to these big companies that are hopefully transparent in public utilities. Instead of each individual community trying to train a crew that can do that type of stuff, that's maybe 30, 40 years down the line when we get to that point. For now, let's let the big dogs maintenance that stuff, replace it if it needs replaced, so on and so forth. But what I'm proposing here is if you merge the internet provider public utility with the electricity provider public utility, you can have your meter on your house. You can put solar panels on your property, on your yard, on your roof, whatever. When the meter rolls back, yes, the electric provider isn't paying top dollar for the electricity being generated. Instead, we say to you, we'll stay on your grid system, but now you're a public utility that provides internet as well. For every kilowatt hour we roll back on our meter, we want this price taken off of our internet service, right? So the solar panels pay for your internet service at your house. A strong internet signal that makes sense, that is logically wired into the internet infrastructure so that the last person on the end of a road isn't, like I talked to a coal miner friend of mine when I was working in the coal mine, they have to share internet with everyone on their street and it's slow and their kids can't even do their homework and stuff like that. They can't even watch television. Let's make strong internet connections, wired internet connections. Let's not rely on putting a bunch of towers up everywhere. The wires are there, the telephone lines are there. Let's merge it all together, make it a public utility. So instead of the government investing in wireless infrastructure like they keep touting, we need the internet, we need broadband, this plan makes more sense. Let's allow internet service providers to be public utilities and not let Comcast and these big companies fight it in court. Let's make it easier for that to merge with the electric companies and let one company provide electricity and internet to a home, maintenance the lines and wires, and as we incorporate solar panels or this new bacteria generator system or even gas generators into the system to generate electricity, once the data lines are there, which we can argue that the existing cable lines can be upgraded, but the existing cable lines can be taken over by a public utility. That could be argued. Once the data lines are there, these companies are making tons of profit off of just a wire being connected to your house. There's not much maintenance. It shouldn't cost $40, $100, $150 for cable and internet at your house. It should probably cost more like $10 or $20 to logically maintenance these wires and upgrade them and things like that. So the electric company should have no issue setting a price like $50 for internet per household and rolling back $30 per month, as you still get paid on your electric bill for some of the electric generation, but we'll subsidize that also your data usage, your internet connection cost will be rolled back for putting solar panels on your house. So that's the new idea on how we can do this. It all starts here in Pittsburgh, just kidding. I'm going to be spending most of my time up in Utica because it can all start there, and we can camp at Ken's campground. We can talk about this stuff. We can work on it. Hopefully some computer scientists come forward, want to work on this stuff. If not, I will reach out to the University of Pittsburgh Computer Science Club, the engineering departments, and some of these local colleges that can come up to Ken's property, and we can discuss and work on these projects. But it would be nice if the NSA or the government or someone realizes the potential of building this infrastructure for energy independence in the United States, so we're not fighting wars for oil and coal and all kinds of stuff all over the world, where our intelligence communities sneak around trying to figure out where the next resource center is. We can be independent. We can connect people to the internet so that they're informed of the facts. And I know that's not the way the internet's structured now, but as chairman of the FCC, we can get it more towards fact-based news, fact-based production of facts on the internet, and have an intelligence populace that adopt things that make sense, like what I've proposed in many different video journals. So I will apologize. I think I talked about the fund that I want to start. I'm starting to forget everything that I've gone over on this video journal, and I don't really have time to go back through and watch it all because it doesn't work on my parents' TV up in Utica. These files don't translate to modern video producing or viewing equipment. They're specialized Apple files, I think, that are compressed because I'm using the onboard camera on this old Apple computer. So files aren't compatible with everything. So I don't know when I'll go back through this. Probably when, if I ever get hired for some kind of a campaign or government position, I can go back through these videos and say, oh, there's that idea, there's that idea. But they're out there now. Hopefully they reach a world audience. Maybe my idea for the continuous water testing gets out to a wider audience. Maybe those researchers in Australia can develop cheap continuous water testing equipment for every household around a danger zone of a spill. Maybe some other nation can, and we can get these water testing systems in the houses that they need to be in. These are things that make sense. This is technology that could have been developed at least 20 years ago, but the powers that be control the information. They brainwash the leadership and the populace alike into thinking a certain way, and then someone like me comes along and says, it could be so simple, we could just do things this way, and he gets buried, he gets censored, his websites get censored, and they hoard the information so that their leadership can review it instead of letting it out to the population. Anyhow, that's it for today, I think. Join me either later this week or next week when I talk about something else. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to hearing from some computer science people that want to converge on Ken Bryan's campground this summer and really work on some projects that can change the world, help develop the fund as cheaply as possible, the website for it, so that we can put it out to other regions around the country and get interest-free solar panel installations out there around the country. Let's do this. Let's get it started. And I'll work on my end as much as possible. I have my t-shirts that are coming up. I'm going to put those out eventually here, and any money raised from my t-shirts, my America t-shirts, will go towards the fund. 50% will go into the fund, 50% will go towards the website and raising money to build the website so that people can have these funds all over the country. Thanks for watching, and join me next time.